last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights. Oh, the rainbow.
We're back live. I'm Curtis Wright on the beat, and we're broadcasting from Battleship Park here in Wilmington, North Carolina, in the shadow of the USS North Carolina. Tonight, Concerned Veterans for America, sponsoring the Defend Freedom Tour. It's, as you heard from our previous guest, Karen Vaughn, has been traveling all over America. They're off to Fayetteville Saturday night. That's tomorrow night. Then on to Florida, and it's been quite a whirlwind. And I have to tell you, folks, we're very honored here on WMYT to have with us our next guest. Dakota Meyer is a Congressional Medal of Honor winner. And in my lifetime, I'm 57 this year. This is the third Congressional Medal of Honor winner I've been able to meet. And I don't know any other word to use when I meet you all, but to say I'm just honored.
No,
and thank you for your service.
Thank you.
So talk to us about the tour. What has been exciting?
Yeah, no, I mean it's great. You know, it's always great to come out with with this organization. You know, I work for other organizations, but you know, this is one that goes out and empowers individuals to make a difference. And I love making a difference and standing up for what's right. And that's what this organization does. You know, Concerned Veterans for America. It's not an organization that comes in and just has this big blow up. You know, one day we come in, we pump everybody up, and then leave, and then everybody's standing there like, well, how do I make a difference? You know what I mean? They come back in, they follow up on what they say they were going to do, and they're going to train people on how to go about making a difference the right way. And I think they do it by educating. You know, they do it by educating people on how systems work, to know how to go do things and how to make change in the system. You have to understand the system to make change, and that's what Concerned Veterans for America does.
And they're not afraid to tell folks the truth. To try to, impress upon them, influence them to understand just how important it is that right now we need to act.
No, exactly. You know, and I feel like they're fair on what they talk about. You know, they're fair. You know, but they're also firm. You know, they come through and they say and then they do what they say they're going to do, and they go out and they make a difference. You know, they're going out and they're. I feel like Concerned Veterans for America is the one that's heading on, is the tip of the spear for changing and making a difference for veterans that are coming back to America.
It's got to be tough. I'm not someone who served. My dad did, and those before him. But I, as often tell my listeners all these years, there's not a day that hasn't gone by in the years since I've had a memory that I am not thankful for what I have, my children have in this country. It is. We are so blessed, and it's because of soldiers like yourselves, patriots like yourselves, for all that you've done and all that you've known. Right now, it's just very frustrating for me, and I'm sure for you it's disheartening to see that what's going on. I mean, that our promises that we have made to patriots like yourselves, soldiers who have served and sacrificed, given everything, and put everything on the line, that we're just not keeping our promises.
Yeah, you know, I mean, these men and women served, and you know, and the thing is they're not going to go out and beg for it. You know, they're not going to do it. They're going to go out and make a difference. They're going to go out and find a way to go around it. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's owed to them. We owe these veterans what we promised them as far as, you know, health care, as far as, you know, the different things that they were provided and promised in the contract when they signed up. You know, but the thing is with veterans is they just do it for the love of their country. They didn't do it for the contract. They didn't do it for the money. They did it because of the love of their country. And you know, and I tell you, I read some stats the other day. You know, since this is the longest war we've ever been in, all volunteer fought war, and less than 0.45% of the nation carried the burden for that war since 9/11. Less than 0.5%. You know, these men and women could have chose to do anything they wanted to. They could have went out and been anything. They could have drove taxis in New York City. They could have went to college. They could have, whatever they wanted to do, they had that opportunity, but they chose to be greater people. They chose to raise their right hand to go fight for their country. And if that's not enough for us to appreciate them, then I don't know what is.
Well, they shouldn't have to come home and fight again.
No,
not here at home.
You're right, but on the backside of it is they're willing to do it.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, right now, you know, it's not Republicans or Democrats that's going to change the country. It's not going to be some political figure that's going to change it. It's not going to be some basketball player. Who cares what LeBron James is doing? Who cares? If we cared as much about our country and about our veterans as we do about LeBron James and where he's going, we wouldn't be in the situation we are right now. The only people in this country that have street cred, as I call it, that are going to make a difference are our veterans. That's the only ones, because they know what it's like to sacrifice for this country. And so, that's why we've got to get them. We've got to get them up. We've got to empower them. We've got to teach them on how to make a difference, because they're going to be the ones that's going to fix this country.
And I said to some of my previous guests that the thing that's so important about what you're doing here with this tour, and you certainly know this, I'm sure, and all that you do and where you go and who you speak to, is to influence this younger generation. They need to meet you. They need to meet the soldiers like you, all that have volunteered, all that have put everything on the line for the country. That influence must stay there. If we lose any of that influence, we're done as a country. Right. And these kind of events where it's done in such a positive way, I just think is critical right now at this time in our history.
No, I agree, and I hope that by what Concerned Veterans for America is doing, they're going around and they're empowering people, and I hope that they empower people to start a fire so bright inside their heart that it'll go across, and it'll just go like a wildfire across America, and it'll fix it.
Thanks again for your service. Thanks for all you've done for the country, and thanks for what you continue to do. I said again earlier that it's always amazed me my life. My experience with veterans is they just never stop serving. Yep. They just never stop serving, and we thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
Folks, we'll be right back. That's Dakota Meyer, Congressional Medal of Honor winner and recipient, and honored to be here tonight at the Defend Freedom Summer Tour, sponsored by Concerned Veterans for America. Don't forget to go to cv4a.org. Get involved. You can make a difference, too. I'm Curtis Wright. Welcome back. I'm Curtis Wright on the Beat, and we're broadcasting from the Defend Freedom Summer Tour here in the shadow of the USS North Carolina at Battleship Park in Wilmington, North Carolina. We're so excited to be here tonight. The park is filling up. Folks are bringing their chairs, their families are coming, their children are here. It's going to be a wonderful evening of food and fun, great music by Madison Rising, and we're honored with us right now to have another veteran with us. Captain Sean Purnell's with us, author and ranger, and it's just great to meet you.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me, and thanks for coming out to support this event.
Well, I was just telling Pete that I'm so appreciative. I am, as a resident of North Carolina, southeastern North Carolina, these last several months getting to know Concerned Veterans for America. I'm so appreciative of the events that they're sponsoring and that we can partner with them. This is, I've said it now in all three segments, this is the home of the American soldier. This is where I lived for the last 20 years. And it's personal to us, and supporting our military and supporting our neighbors and friends, because that's who they are, whether they're on their way out or whether they're on their way home. We're the ones here, and we all are just so appreciative of your service. Thank you for your service and all that they've always done.
Well, you're welcome. It's an honor to serve. I mean, I would go back and do it in a second if I could. I mean, look around, and there's probably 400 people here, or going to be 400 people here today.
We're hoping. I think it may be a lot more than that.
Yeah, and but that's a testament to everything that you were just saying. And it's a bunch of people, patriots that love America and believe that it's an exceptional nation. And love the people who serve.
What's so great about doing things like this is what we were talking about earlier with Madison Rising is, making the effort to have a rally like this, a tour like this, and then you'll see the people come out. It's those who, or us, I should say, myself as well, who don't do those things, who won't make the effort. And we should always make the effort to honor, of course, our veterans and remember always, not just on those holidays, but events like this. The families will come, the kids will come. Plus, they should be exposed, and they should be influenced, and they should have an ability to get to meet, soldiers like yourself who served and have provided them this great liberty and freedom that we have.
Well, there's like, for me at least, there's nothing better than meeting the youth of America. I mean, they're going to be running the show here in a few years, so it's always great pleasure to meet people like that. But it's just, these sort of events are overwhelming, because there are thousands of Americans, tens of thousands of Americans across the country that want to get involved, that believe this country is great, that are probably feeling dejected. They don't really know what to do, to where to sort of channel some of their anger or frustrations. And what we're trying to do is just host events that celebrate America as an exceptional nation, a benevolent superpower in the world. And I mean, the response that we've been getting all across the nation has been overwhelming.
Now, you're going out to Fayetteville tomorrow evening, and I think you're going to see, of course, there at Fort Bragg, you're going to see, I had an opportunity to broadcast for a number of years from there. You're going to see the folks come out. And it was what you just said, that, we don't get the opportunity to come together in a positive way too often, sadly and embarrassingly, and it's sad that we have to apologize. We're coming together to protest. We're coming together to say, no, no, no. A promise made should be a promise kept.
Right.
And so it's great to have an event like this. And right now, it's great because people need to be inspired right now to get involved, because
totally
what's
agree.
going on is embarrassing.
It is embarrassing, and that's what I mean by people feeling dejected. But there are still people out there that believe this nation is great. Hundreds of thousands of people in this country, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to focus on that. We're trying to focus on the positive and present a vision, really, of what America could and should be by people who truly understand what it means to defend freedom. Only 0.4% of the nation has served in 12 years of war. 13 years of war at this point, and our longest period of war in our history. And most Americans, for better or for worse, aren't really in touch on a day-to-day basis of what it takes to defend their freedom. So, these events sort of fill a gap as well of understanding and maybe even showing people the cost of their freedom and getting people more in touch with what that means to be a free people and how we should defend it with every fiber of our being.
You said the experience of some of these events has been overwhelming. Share some of the moments that, just one or two, that really just you'll remember.
So we had an event in Vegas that was amazing. We had a lot of people come out, and we had a veteran, a U.S. Navy veteran from the Cold War era, fly all the way from Hawaii just to be a part of the event, just to be a part of what we're trying to put together at CVA. And at the end of the event, he had tears in his eyes because he felt like he finally had an outlet to get involved, to sort of energize the base back in his hometown of Hawaii, to say, hey, look, here's an opportunity for us to get together and celebrate America and defend freedom. So that was that in Vegas. And a couple weeks before that, we were in Ohio, and I had a veteran that had come up that had read my book, and he had tears in his eyes, and he's just, thank you so much for getting involved and doing what you're doing. It means a lot to us, and he was a Vietnam veteran. So we didn't have this when we came home. And so it's all about service, it's all about taking action, it's all about inspiring people to get involved and make a difference.
That's what's great about Concerned Veterans for America, and that's the one thing, is to have it an outlet. I was talking to Pete, and I was saying, Pete, the one thing that I admire is that your organization's been structured or formed or created in a way to be that independent, zealous advocate for veterans.
Right.
There's a lot of groups out there, they do great work, they have for generations, but you get into Washington, you get into politics, and things start getting watered down. But when it comes to our veterans, they need that independent voice.
And not only do we need an independent voice, but we need a veterans organization, and CVA is that organization that just won't accept the status quo in Washington. If something is wrong and our veterans aren't being treated right, we take action to fix it and make it right. That's how it's got to be. There's no games. We do the right things for the right reasons, for the right people. And I think at the end of the day, you have people, athletes and politicians, and most Americans maybe don't believe everything that comes out of their mouth. Maybe there's a credibility issues with those kinds of people right now. But really, veterans have credibility because, first and foremost, they put their country first all the time, even in many cases before their family, the dollar, even their own lives.
Right.
So people that love their country, people that put their country first, you can, in many cases, trust what they're going to say as an advocate for other veterans or just the nation in general.
And everything you're doing, I know we've said it earlier in the interview, but everything you're doing, influencing a younger generation. Us adults, we've been around, we've been dealing with a lot of different things in this country for generations or years, I should say, decades. But the influence on the young people to first show them this is your responsibility from the beginning. Step forward and honor, respect, and remember what's been done from soldiers like yourself. And this needs to be at the core of who we are as a country, always stay there. So I thank you again for your service, and thank you for all that you and Concerned Veterans for America are doing. We're just proud to be part of it.
Well, you're welcome. It's an honor to be here. I appreciate you having me.
Captain Sean Parnell, and don't forget, check out his books on Amazon. I'm sure they're still there, and we're looking forward to tonight. Thanks for coming.
All right, thank you.
We'll be right back. I'm Curtis Wright, and we're broadcasting from the Battleship Park here in Wilmington, North Carolina, in the shadow of the USS North Carolina.
For heroes proved in liberating strife.
Welcome back. I'm Curtis Wright on the new 106.7 FM My Talker Radio. We're broadcasting live from the Defend Freedom Summer Tour here at Battleship Park next to the USS North Carolina in Wilmington, North Carolina. Pete Hegseth is with us. Now, you've seen Pete night after night, Fox News and other major news channels. You've heard him, seen him, and his advocacy always for our veterans across America, especially right now with all the challenges that we have. And I sure am honored to have you with us tonight.
Curtis, thanks. Honored to be here. Appreciate it.
This is quite an event, and folks from all over southeastern North Carolina, and I know you're on to Fayetteville tomorrow, are just real excited about this, and I hope we have a real good turnout tonight. It's just a wonderful thing to do. We need more events like this.
Well, I think so, and I think we're going to have a great turnout tonight, and no more natural place to do it than North Carolina. I mean, what a huge veterans population, patriotic state, important state, and a lot of VA facilities, a lot of military facilities. We wanted to make sure that on this summer tour we came here to talk about the stuff affecting veterans, military families, and all Americans, but it's particularly acute, I think, with what we're seeing happening to our military, with the VA scandal that's going on right now. Veterans have to be engaged in the solution, and that's what we're trying to do.
You know, I was saying to Madison Rising that it's personal to us here in southeastern North Carolina. This is the home of the American soldier. That's how we feel. We certainly know over generations now, the old saying is true that when the United States dials 911, it rings here in North Carolina. And of course, then we have the largest, I believe, retired community of veterans here. So it's personal to us.
Sure is.
I don't think there's a day that doesn't go by these last 21 years I've been here that veterans, many veterans, aren't a part of my regular day. They're part of our supporters, they're part of my friends and family. And we are very upset about what's going on because here in southeastern North Carolina, you know, we believe it's not just words, that a promise made should be a promise kept.
That's exactly right, across the board. A veteran, anyone who served, should believe that their government's going to follow through on what they were promised to do. But unfortunately, just recently in the news, we see that it's not just the VA. You've got captains in the Army in Afghanistan right now likely getting pig slips because we're doing reductions in forces after this conflict. So you've got folks putting their lives on the line, commanding troops that are coming home to say, well, we don't need your services anymore. And that's a reflection of priorities. It's a reflection of a government that's more interested in deficit spending anywhere else, whether it's dependency programs, illegals on the border, whatever it is, but yet we're willing to cut warfighters, and you know those captains at this point. These are the guys that came in after 9/11 that have been leading troops in combat for a decade. They're war-hardened, they're patriotic, they understand what it takes to fight these enemies that are recovering on the battlefield right now in Iraq and elsewhere. To be cutting them, I think, is a breaking of faith, just like what's happening with the VA.
I couldn't think of a better time for your organization to be here. As I said on the air to some folks this week we were talking with, that, you know, an independent, zealous advocate for our veterans. There are other veterans organizations, and certainly we're involved with them, and we love them, you know, the American Legion and others. But to have an organization like yourself that just goes right to the gold line and pass the post.
I
That's
like
what
that.
you do.
Well, I appreciate that. That's what we want to be. I like independent and zealous. I'm going to steal that from you if it's all right. I mean, we want to be kind of what the NRA is for guns, for veterans. We're going to come out here and say, this is what we're all about, and we're going to make it happen.
Well,
and we
you
don't
know,
care if
our
you're a
veterans
Republican or a
deserve
Democrat.
no less.
Absolutely, you deserve no less. This is about our country. This is about our veterans. This is about what we fought to defend, the freedom and prosperity we believe in, and that's why our name is specifically Concerned Veterans for America. Listen, we're for veterans, obviously, but veterans raise their right hand to defend this nation. what it means, what the American experiment is all about, what we love. We want to be engaged in that discussion too. And I think for too long, veterans have been pigeonholed into saying, if you're a vet, all you really should care about is veterans benefits. Of course we care about that, and we're aggressive as all get out about it. But we also care about our economy and our national debt and the way our government is encroaching on our freedoms. All of these, and national security and the threats on the battlefield that we understand. Vets should need to be a part in that entire discussion, and we want them to join a group like Concerned Vets for America, where they're going to be professional but aggressive, targeted in what we fight for.
You know, it's amazing. 21 years here in southeastern North Carolina, and I've said to people, I'm not really sure. Matter of fact, we were just talking about it with the guys from Madison Rising. I'm not really sure that veteran might be the right word, because all of these folks, the thousands upon thousands I've met, and I'm so proud to have met them. I broadcast out of Fayetteville for a number of years. They never stop serving. Now, I don't know one of them that doesn't stop serving. We'll go to rallies, 65 years old, 70 years old. They want to know who they can call. How can they send an email?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
and we, you know, sometimes we forget not just the service, putting their lives on the line and serving and sacrificing for the country as they have, but it's that they never stop.
Yeah.
They just never stop, and we're so fortunate to have that.
Incredibly so blessed also as an advocacy organization, because there's a lot of groups that when you're building an organization, you need people with certain skills and with a certain mindset, both of which are present with a veteran. You've got the skills, they know how to lead, but they also know how to follow, they know how to organize, all of those things. And then you've got the ethos, the values that come with understanding something greater than your own self-interest. You put those two things together, that's a potent combination. And it hasn't yet been completely put together in the policy and advocacy space. You've got political parties that are interested in certain things, and then you've got individuals doing fantastic things, or veterans organizations focused more on just veterans issues. When you tie it all together, I mean, we've got the potential of doing something special, and that's what we're excited about at Concerned Vets for America, and we want to work with every group out there, every vets group that's already doing great work, to say let's combine forces and make it happen.
Well, I want to tell you, we've just gotten involved with you these last several months here in southeastern North Carolina. You all sponsored the Lone Survivor event here. That was a packed house, and folks just really appreciate all the work you're doing here. I know they do, and I appreciate the fact that we have a partner that we can work with to get things done, hold rallies like this, bring people together, lest we forget all that's been done for us.
Lest we forget, indeed, and we couldn't do it without folks like you that are willing to amplify our voice, so we're very appreciative.
Well, thanks for being with us, and it looks like it's going to be a great event tonight. We're so honored to be here. We're in the shadow of the USS North Carolina at Battleship Park here in Wilmington, North Carolina. Pete Hegsmith is with us, and Pete is doing a great job. It's so great to see you, by the way. I'm going to say it again. I know it's repetitive, seeing you on the news so much, because right now you can steal it. You're a zealous advocate that our veterans not only need, they deserve.
I appreciate it.
Thanks for all that your organization is doing.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate
I'm
it.
Curtis Wright. We'll be right back here on The Beat. You stay with us.
Across the fruity plains, I'm talking about America, America.
I'm Curtis Wright, and we're back on The Beat. We're in Battleship Park in Wilmington, North Carolina, and we're in the shadow of the USS North Carolina, and we're here for the Defend Freedom Summer Tour, and it's quite a tour. This is all sponsored by Concerned Veterans for America, and you can go online and get involved, cv4a.org, and go to our website, WMYT1067fm.com, and you can connect with them there. With us right now, she's someone we've had the opportunity this week to interview, and before when she visited southeastern North Carolina. Karen Vaughn is a Gold Star mother, and of course the story of her son's service and sacrifice for this country. Aaron Vaughn, we sure again thank you for all that your family has done.
Thank you. Sure appreciate that.
So I'm going to ask you now on mic, where are all the places you've been now that you practiced?
Okay, yeah. Thank you for letting me practice. We started out in Ohio, and then we moved to Virginia. We did Norfolk and Fairfax, and then we went all the way to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and Las Vegas. And now we're here in North Carolina, Wilmington tonight, Fayetteville tomorrow, and then we'll end our tour in Tampa and Orlando 2 weeks from now.
Now we're hearing, probably in the background, you're hearing a little bit of Madison Rising getting ready to perform here tonight. Share with me, you're someone who certainly has been called, not necessarily wanted to be called, but through your son's service and sacrifice, you have kept the mission going, and held the standard forward. You're out advocating for veterans across America. But what's it like on the tour? Share some of the moments, share some of the things that you just won't forget from this tour.
Well, first off, the most important thing that I can tell you about the tour that touches me the most is getting to stand side by side with amazing patriots across this country, including the speakers. When we travel, the people who come out are the people who love this country the way we love this country. That's why they come out to these, sweltering hot days outside and, listen to what we've got to say. And so just locking arms with them and seeing that vibrant Americana out there that still, the media would have us believe, the mainstream media would have us believe that there are no such people in this country anymore, that's just a washed up idea, the proud Americans. But I'm here to tell you, traveling across this country, that is not true.
Well, look what's happened with the latest scandal. Isn't that embarrassing for me to have to say? I'm 57 years old, and sadly, I don't remember a time since I've had a memory that I haven't heard problems at the VA, and that's something that we have failed to promise we haven't kept to our veterans. But look what's happened recently, what has come out, and look how America has responded to this.
Right.
It's not just another political story. It's not just a news headline. I mean, and especially here in North Carolina, as I say, the home of the soldier. I mean, this is personal.
Right.
And but yet across America, like you say, supporting our veterans has always been personal to us.
Well, you know what? The one thing that I find about Americans is there are very few things that we can see eye to eye on, but our veterans seem to be one of those items. Those are the people that everybody. There's no right, there's no left, there's no blue and red. There are Americans who have sacrificed everything they can to keep our nation free, and you see that on both sides of the aisle. And I always like to point out too, we have problems on both sides of the aisle. This isn't a conservative or liberal agenda or policy issue here. This is an American issue. And it's one thing that I believe people can really see, can really agree on and say, hey, we got to fight for this. So I think that that's the one thing that transcends all the other issues going on in this country that has us so torn apart right now. It's the one thing that people see eye to eye on, and it doesn't tear us apart. It unites us, and everybody knows something has to be done.
It was right across the river here the first time I met you and your husband when you came into town. And shortly after that, Concerned Veterans for America, we partnered with them on an event to show Lone Survivor. And I thought about you that night. I mean that sincerely. Every one of our children in high school, if that's the age, maybe some would say that's maybe even too traumatic, but I don't think so. No. Because, I watched as the movie was being played, and I thought, to myself, this is something that every young person in this country needs to see in high school, in college, the younger generation, to understand. I mean, if this is the closest we can get, your son's mission that he was on, this is what they need to understand is the price of liberty and freedom, and that there are those patriots that always, like your son, have been there to meet that call and to meet that challenge.
Exactly. I think that you just made a really, really excellent point, because even when Aaron was a Navy SEAL, it was hard for me to comprehend as a mom, and probably that was just partially me not really wanting to comprehend it, but it was hard for me to comprehend what he was actually engaged in when he went to Iraq or when he went to Afghanistan. And, when I first read the book, Lone Survivor, Aaron was the one who insisted that I read it. And I'll never forget what he said to me. I told him, I said, son, these are not the kind of books a mom wants to read. It's probably not something that I can really handle emotionally. And he said, the way I see it, and he said this with so much respect, I can't remember his exact words, but he said, the way I see it, Mom, is every American has an obligation to read this book. If you want to turn your eyes and pretend, and he wasn't saying this derogatorily to me, but I'm saying this is the concept. If you want to turn your eyes and pretend that it's not going on and just bury your head in your safety and freedom and think that it has no cost, then that's kind of a repulsive behavior. And he really got through to me. And I remember I read that book and it literally ruined me. And so I was so glad that they made it into a movie so that the populace, the masses could see that story and see this is what it's like tonight. It's 8.5 hours later right now in Afghanistan, and men are fighting tonight. The night that my son died, he was a member of SEAL Team 6. The night he died, Special Operations Forces were conducting 11 missions that single night. This is an ongoing issue. People are dying.
I don't have to tell you. See, we forget that. See, that's been the history of the United States. I believe that's why we've prevailed through so many challenges. We forget what has been done, like your son. We forget that, and many nations and peoples do, and that's their downfall. We forget that, and then we don't have a future. And this tour by Concerned Veterans for America, and you're on it, and see you continue to serve our country. This is so important for us, what you're doing. It is. For us, I'm talking about American citizens, our communities across America, where, as you said, we're safe, we're comfortable.
Right.
This is important.
It's easy to forget. It's easy to forget what's being done on our behalf. 1.3 million Americans have paid their last full measure for the preservations of our freedoms. We buried one of Aaron's best friends yesterday in Arlington. My husband and I drove here this morning from that funeral. And I watched about 100 Navy SEALs gather around a casket after they pounded their tridents into it in the trident ceremony, and I thought, here it is again, the cost of freedom.
Thank you
People
so
just
much.
don't know.
Thank you so much for being with us tonight again. Thanks for coming to Southeastern North Carolina.
Thank you.
And thank you for your son's service and sacrifice and what you continue to do with your husband across America. Very important. You know that.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm Curtis Wright. We'll be right back. You stay with us. We're here at the Defend Freedom Summer Tour. It's all sponsored by Concerned Veterans for America. We're in Battleship Park in Wilmington, North Carolina.
Someone to save us from ourselves and our own self-destruction. God only knows we need.
Welcome, Southeastern North Carolina. I'm Curtis Wright on the beat, and we're live. We're doing a remote from the Defend Freedom Summer Tour here at Battleship Park in Wilmington, North Carolina, all sponsored by Concerned Veterans for America. Now, you got a full shot there tonight, and that is Dave, AJ, and Tom, and they're from Madison Rising. They're going to be playing this evening. Lots of fun and lots of food here tonight, and we're really excited about talking with you guys. Boy, let me tell you, the reputation and the notoriety about what is it, being America's patriotic rock band is sure sweeping, at least I know, North Carolina.
Well, yeah. Can you hear me? I don't know where am I supposed to be. America's most patriotic rock band. It was kind of a stigma that people kept asking us, "Are you America's most patriotic rock band? Would you consider yourself to be America's most patriotic?" And finally, I just said, at this point, yeah, because nobody really does what Madison Rising does. We stand behind this nation, the flag, our country, our service members, the people who put a flag on their uniform, and that's what we sing about. It's in every one of our songs. And finally, we stand behind our Constitution. And being a veteran, I took that oath. I don't plan on de-oathing anytime soon. So Madison Rising, promotes those values. And I think it's a necessary importance to be a part of that and, spread that word with great rock music.
This morning on the show, we played one of your pieces from your album, the Star Spangled Banner. And when first we started to promote the event, I guess about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and we were meeting with the folks from Concerned Veterans for America, they said, "Oh, you got to play the Star Spangled Banner." And then people started emailing me as I was promoting over the week. So that one's really caught the attention. And we played it this morning.
And it has, it's actually gotten more than 5 million views on YouTube. If you've seen the previews for the movie that's out right now in theaters by Dinesh D'Souza, it's actually called America, Imagine a World Without Her, and we're actually in the credits. We shot a separate video exactly for that movie. It's an amazing song, and it's really become our calling card, I guess you could say, as far as our band is concerned. We've done it at NFL halftime shows and all across the country. We just did one for Special Olympics. It was pretty awesome.
That was pretty great.
Yeah.
So let's start back a little bit, maybe, and how'd the band start? How'd you guys get together, and what's the story been so far of your career?
We started about 3 years ago. We were, basically kind of found each other, like-minded people looking to start and create a band for this purpose. We wanted to create a band of really solid musicians, first and foremost, and then we wanted to make sure that everybody in the band and what we sung and wrote about was basically anything to do with patriotic values. And again, the Constitution plays a part in that. Our service members, our men and women in uniform, our police, our firefighters, our first responders. And if when you want to find out more about Madison Rising, definitely go to madisonrising.com, but also check out our Facebook pages and look us up on social media, because that's where you really get all the goods about where we are, what we're going to be doing, and what's coming up next.
I'm an ex-Southern Californian, and the Southern Californian that if you ask me who my neighbor is next door, 20 years, I don't know who they are, kind of thing. And when I moved here and started my broadcasting career, getting involved with supporting the military, that's just who we are here in southeastern North Carolina.
Absolutely.
You know the old saying that when the nation dials 911, it goes right to Fort Bragg. And, of course, we got Camp Lejeune. And
right, I'm a Camp Lejeune guy.
You know?
The 2nd Battalion, 2nd Marines. I got to give a holler out to Mother Green down there and say what's up to my boys. So hoorah.
that's who we are. I mean, it's personal to us down here. And so many different events that I've been in over these last 20 years. And I mean, I'm proud and I'm honored that I'd be asked to be involved. But I have to tell you something. I just listening to you talk about why you got together and what your focus is, I don't remember in 20 years any band talking to me just about that they had created the band and this is what you wanted to focus on, and then you've gone out across America, across with your demo, with the folks that you want to attract to your music. I just never heard that story before.
Well, I think it is an original idea, and I think what we're realizing in this country more and more is the fact that pop culture and what our children is listening to, on a daily basis starts to sink in, and those lifestyles start to become things that they emulate and they look up to. Being a father as well as not only a veteran but a homeowner, and I'm also I'll say it, I'm a gun owner. I'm not afraid to say that I'm here to defend that as well. But one of the things that we've realized is that, if you grow up listening to hang around thugs, you listen to thug music, you're probably going to grow up and want to be and emulate what you listen to because you thought that was cool. Your first heroes are oftentimes what you end up becoming, and that's what we're trying to change as far as the narrative is concerned, and give them an option to have different heroes in life. It doesn't have to be an Eminem or a Beyonce or a Lady Gaga. It can be somebody that's just a good home, kind of a country boy like myself, and like us. We're not big city guys. We don't flash bling. We don't have lots of rocks or roll on 20s. But
AJ's waiting for something.
AJ's actually, he is waiting for some.
Order hasn't come in yet.
Yeah, he's still waiting on his 20s first, probably. But no, that's what we're trying to do. Set a positive example with some really great music, and that patriotic feeling that you get when you listen to that Star Spangled Banner. Your kids, they say, can feel everything on a magnified level. So when you're angry, your kids are really angry. When you're happy, your kids are really happy. And when you're feeling patriotic, I feel that that's one of those emotions that goes into that as well. And the upbringing of our children is very important. They're the future of this country. And I think that we need to really look at them as being our real most valuable asset in this country, because we do have a lot of great youth out there. It's just a lot of it's straying in the wrong direction, and we, as being a cell phone nation at this point in time, we're letting it happen, and I think it's important to refocus them in the right direction.
Tell me something. What's the demographics like? Are we have
from
the last
8 years old to 80.
That's what I was going to say.
That's the classic
that must
one.
be pretty amazing,
it is.
to see it. And that goes to what you were saying.
Yep.
If somebody would just do it, then people will be attracted to it. It's just that our young people aren't being, well, I shouldn't say at all, but there are a lot more today. I know that you notice a lot more. The country singers are going a little bit more patriotic as much as they can when they can.
But even it seems to be some. It seems to be a bit of a new trend at our shows that I don't know, the past, I don't even know how many shows we've been bringing small children up on stage.
Yeah,
and
that's
they're
great.
Holding flags and everything while we're playing the banner and everything, and so they get it.
Now you
They
guys
see it.
know this, right? They're never going to ever forget that.
Absolutely.
Which is really great.
That's your first concert. You got to come up on stage. I didn't get to do that at my first concert.
Yeah, we've had several kids tell us it's their first concert ever.
Yeah.
And now tell me about the. We're gonna let us take a little bit of a break here, because we're going to be mixing this down to be putting on the radio over the next couple weeks. We're going to take a quick break. We're here with Madison Rising. I'm here with Dave, AJ, and Tom. They're performing tonight at the Defend Freedom Summer Tour that's here at the Battleship Park in Wilmington, North Carolina. Of course, at the USS North Carolina. We'll be right back. We're back here at the Battleship Park in Wilmington, North Carolina, at the USS North Carolina. This is the Defend Freedom Summer Tour that's being sponsored by Concerned Veterans for America. I'm Curtis Wright, and we're on the beat. And I have to tell you, this is pretty special being here with Madison Rising. It is special. I said before we went to the break, what's it like? What's your demographic? Are you attracting the younger folks and the kids and the families? Tonight, we've talked for the last 3 weeks. And just try to tell them, look, you're looking for something to do on a Friday night, bring the whole family, grab your neighbors, go down to your, go down through the neighborhood and come on out. And I wish there was more of this. I really do. I just to let you know, I spent the first 22 years of my life in music in Los Angeles. And, it just sort of everything moved away from just family and families listening to music. And I think it's great what you're doing. I think your influence on the young people and families is great. First album, is this the first major album you've done?
Yeah, this is actually our second. Our debut released in 2010, and then we just came out with the new record with the Star Spangled Banner on. It's called American Hero, and it's available on Amazon or iTunes. Or if you go to our Madison Rising store, you can check it out there. And we have all kinds of stuff there. We have Madison Rising militia patches, T-shirts, coins, cups, mugs, anything you really throw a stick at. But one of the things we've prided ourselves in is our T-shirts. They're all American-made. Some of the tchotchke stuff we can't get in American-made, but our T-shirts are our bestseller, and they're American-made, and that's the kind of stock and things that we try to keep it in the family as far as America is concerned. That's it's a step in the right direction. It's what Madison Rising tries to not only do but live by.
Now we got to get Tom to grab that microphone. He just has to sort of lean over and tell us. So what's it been like? I mean, put the band together, and like I said, I was a musician. I gave up music and went into business because I just wasn't cut out for. Well, I don't have to tell you what to be cut out for. But so what's it been like the last couple of years?
I'm actually the new guy. I've been touring with the guys for about 3 months now.
Oh, okay. So you're a newbie.
I'm the newbie. Yep. It's definitely been amazing. I really feel that we have a great message, and going around the country and spreading it. Seeing everyone's reactions. Like was said, we see our fan bases from older folks all the way to young children, and seeing us have that effect on such a wide range of people has been very amazing and very rewarding.
Talk to me about where you've been. Have you where basically have you been touring or playing?
Where have we been in general,
or is it where haven't you been?
Month?
No, yeah, talk to us, because it must be taking off, right? I mean,
let's see. Last month alone, in this order, starting from New Jersey, went to Colorado. Denver, Jersey, L.A., New Mexico, Vegas, North Dakota, Grand Rapids, back to L.A., back to New Mexico, back to Wisconsin. Went home for a couple days, and now we're here.
Okay.
That's just 1 month.
So let me ask you a question. Before the band, how much did you actually travel all through America? Much?
Well, I'd been in other bands, so I'd seen a little bit, but definitely not as much.
So
as
now
I've been
you see
recently,
the America that you're singing about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get to drive through the mountains and the prairies and all that fun stuff,
amazing,
and
It's definitely
you see everything.
Shining sea.
Yeah, it is.
Sometimes 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, it's rough sometimes.
And you're on the road traveling, right? I mean, on the road, on the ground?
Well,
flying and driving.
All different.
Yeah, it's both. It depends. It's a good mixture of both lately.
Going out west, it was still in the 70s. It was like being a pioneer. There was still a little bit of that left. But then being able to travel around the country. Some people love Europe. I love to travel around America. And it's what you said. I mean, it's like, holy smokes. This state, Texas, I remember the first time I went through. It's like, does it ever end?
No. Ever since we got with the Concerned Veterans for America, we've really seen our demographic sort of really shift towards obviously the veterans. I mean, being a veteran, obviously it comes from there naturally, but we've really seen a huge upswelling and a response from the veterans, especially with the Concerned Veterans of America. And I want to talk about them just a little bit. The speakers on this tour are really top notch. We have Dakota Meyer, who is a Congressional Medal of Honor winner. We got Sean Parnell, who's a New York Times #1 bestseller with his book Outlaw Platoon. Dakota's book is called Into the Fire, another great book as well. And also another speaker is Karen Vaughn, who lost her son Aaron Vaughn in Extortion 17. Her and Billy have a book called Betrayed. And these are people that have been in this line of fire. They have been really through the hell of what's going on in this country today and what the veterans are going through when they come home. And we're all sort of led, I guess you could say, by none other than the great Pete Hegseth. And he's with us very close here today. He's a Fox News contributor and is always online, talking about veterans benefits and things along those lines. And it's to be involved with some, even on a small level, with what this organization does on a huge level for the veterans that they do it for. It says so much for the people that we've really kind of gotten to meet along the way. And like I said, I talk about our demographic. To get to shake hands with some of these wounded warriors and these guys that really feel as though they have no real direction to turn, but then when they come to one of our events, or they come to a Concerned Veterans of America event, they feel at home. They feel like they're right back to where they were when they started. They feel like it's a part of the oath that they took, and again, it's like finding a new home. And if we can regroup as veterans in this country, we can become a very powerful force, not just as a defense mechanism, but also just as a patriotic movement and, a voting party.
We've seen recently, sadly, this embarrassment, this scandal of the VA, but it's gone on for a long time. I'm 57 this year. I often say on the air, I don't remember a time, sadly, that we haven't had a problem with the VA. True. And that is, and you've seen the people from all across America, from every community, come out and say, no, 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 no. Okay, and the more they find out, the angry they get. Because when you go across America, it's so interesting that people, the majority of people are true patriots in America. And that's something we cannot lose. We have, I've been on the air for 20 hours a week for I don't know how many years now. And sometimes you get frustrated and you get depressed, and some days you wonder if it's making a difference. And then you'll go to an event like this, and I'm sure that's what you're feeling. You go and you go, holy smokes.
Well,
I need
that's,
to,
that's
get
the
some.
greatest part about this is, like you said, the making a difference. They're not just here to bring awareness. That's a part of it. But they're also actually doing something. And they're making moves, and they're really helping people, and it's not just trying to get people to help. And I mean, that is a part of it. But it's not just them going out and being like, hey, here's what's going on. We need to do something.
We have
they're
Step
saying
Up.
that, and they're doing something.
You have Step Up for Soldiers here. That's a gentleman, Tom Russell, here in our community that retired and ex-military, ex-Port Authority after 9/11. He's still serving. And that's the one thing I see over and over again. The veterans across North Carolina is my home. They don't stop serving. Never. They just never
they look
stop.
at themselves like veterans.
And, no, but that's what I mean. I'm not sure they are veterans because they never stop serving. And that's why, for someone like me, I say, then folks, then it's up to us to make sure that we never stop honoring them and respecting them for all that they've done. And I think it's just amazing what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
And I wish you all the best. And I know here in southeastern North Carolina, you've got a following and you've got a support group. So whatever we can do to get the word out and keep the word and the song out there, you just let us know.
Absolutely. Thanks again. Be well.
Madison Rising, they're playing tonight here at Battleship Park next to the USS North Carolina in Wilmington, North Carolina. I'm Curtis Wright on the beat, and we'll be right back.